Geek World!
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Geek World Radio. So there was some huge news that came out last week. Marvel and Netflix are teaming up to bring 4 characters from the Marvel Universe to give them shows of their own. How awesome is that? The shows are going to be coming out in 2015. They're each getting 13 episodes, all leading up to this big, mini-series event.
Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, they're all going to get their own shows.
Well, these are kind of screwed up characters. Obviously, the other characters have their flaws, they have their issues. You know, Tony Stark had a drinking issue, he's got a hole in his chest, essentially. But these guys have been really, really screwed up through their lives.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point of this show. We're going to talk about the characters, we're going to talk about how we think these shows will probably go and why it's probably a good thing that they're going to Netflix, which is really starting to make their mark with this sort of edgy, different way to show TV. Because really, most of these characters would not actually end up all that well in ABC. First up, let's talk about Daredevil anime.
Let's not.
Oh, come on. I know you dislike Daredevil, but come on, he's kind of cool, okay? And now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh no, I saw that really bad movie starring future Batman. But listen, at the end of the day, that movie did suck. But it doesn't mean Daredevil isn't a compelling, cool character. He's been around ever since '64. Frank Miller took him over in the '80s, made him cool. I mean, and he's also got some cool villains, too.
Okay, I will give you that the fact that he is so mentally screwed up is kind of cool. But as a superhero, his superpower is that he can see.
That is not his superpower, okay?
Whatever.
Okay.
He's got 360 view.
He can see everywhere. He can sense objects and people all around him. He's got radar. He's also got a perfect sense of smell and touch and hearing. And he also has, perfect balance. They could really do a lot of parkour-type cool stuff with Daredevil.
You know who else has perfect balance?
Who, anime?
Most Olympic gymnasts.
Okay, that's great and everything, but
you know what else? They can see.
Yeah, well, okay, but
they
can't
can
see,
mostly hear.
They can't sense all the way around them, and they also don't have ninja skills. Also, it was just announced that Drew Goddard, who's the guy who directed Cabin in the Woods, and he also wrote for Alias, Buffy, Lost, looks like he's in negotiations right now to write Daredevil. So the cool thing about Daredevil is he's got a lot of issues. I don't think people understand that. It's not just they can't see, okay? He's got all kinds of issues. So Matt Murdock is Daredevil, right? He's a lawyer by day, Daredevil by night. One of his, former girlfriends, went to LA to become an actress, and then she became a porn star, addicted to heroin, totally sold out his secret identity to the Kingpin, so the Kingpin, ruined his whole life. That's, one set of 13 episodes right there. And, Daredevil has become broke many times. He's gone crazy.
Luckily he's got a law career to fall back on.
but that's even gotten destroyed. He's gone crazy. He's been taken over by, an evil entity.
Oh, who hasn't in the Marvel Universe?
He became the leader of the ninja group, the Hand. I mean, so much has happened with him that could be used as a really cool storytelling.
Wait, hold on. Are we sure that he was the leader of the group, or did he just think he was? Was there a room with no one in it? And he thought he was leading the Hand, but he really wasn't.
Okay. I don't know if that's a mental illness joke or a blind joke, but either way,
take it either way.
I don't appreciate that. This is the point, okay? There's some real high drama here. There's some really cool stuff they could do, and I honestly think Daredevil could be really neat. So it could be all this weird drama stuff, and also some cool parkour stuff too.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay.
By the way, who do you think should be Daredevil?
I don't know.
Throwing it out to you right now.
I have no idea, because the problem is it's Netflix. They have gotten some pretty big actors, like Kevin Spacey, so it could be somebody big, but, I have no idea. They'll probably hire someone like Sean Ferris. I don't know why that just came to my mind, but it'd probably be someone like him. Somebody who, you've seen in stuff, so he's not necessarily new, but you don't really know who he is, but he's hungry enough to, do a show that probably won't get paid a lot and probably be very dangerous for him. But hey, you know what? Maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was an oddly specific choice off the top of my head.
Okay, so next up is Iron Fist. Now, Iron Fist is that guy, you might have seen him, he's in green and yellow, he has a crazy scar on his chest, looks kind of like a dragon. Iron Fist is kind of cool. He's from Earth, but he actually trained in this other dimension, this kung fu dimension. He lived there from the time that he was 9, and on a trip there with his dad, who actually kind of grew up there, his dad was murdered, his mom was eaten by wolves, and so he was kind of adopted into a family there, and he trained kung fu, and then he slayed a dragon, and then he got Iron Fist powers, and then he went back to Earth, and he did cool stuff.
Wow. There you go. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it, you know.
This could be one of the most interesting of all the shows because, you know, there is obviously this sort of like martial arts, like Asian aspects to it, but there's also sort of a weird Thor aspect to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
Very
from
much so.
a different place, he's got to learn to get along with everybody. And also on top of that, he becomes a wealthy businessman, so it's sort of like Arrow,
right,
where he comes back and, you know, takes over his father's business.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of really interesting stuff, and also notably, for you comic book fans out there, Iron Fist and Luke Cage, who's one of the other guys we're going to talk about probably next, they work together as a team.
Yeah, heroes for hire. You might have heard that name because they, you know, they would go out and try and make money for their heroics.
Yeah, well, you know, gotta get paid.
Exactly. Okay, so like a lot of other heroes, Iron Fist kind of had to deal with his own vendetta that he had against his dad's old business partner, who's the one who murdered his dad.
Yeah.
Okay, now Iron Fist is pretty cool because he has some actual powers. You know, aside from being completely trained in martial arts, he also has the Iron Fist power, which doesn't just create a glow around your hand. It's because you have this like amazing, like crazy hard punch. Like you have this super ridiculous punch and can do crazy things. You got like superhuman strength essentially.
He can also heal people too. Up next is
Luke Cage.
Oh, that's right. Now Luke Cage is a pretty popular character. I think he's very notable, frankly, for the fact that he's a popular African-American character. There really aren't a lot.
Yeah. I believe that he was created after Black Panther, but it was pretty soon after. He also has gone by the name of Power Man.
Yes. Now, Luke Cage is a really interesting character. Basically, he's this guy who had sort of a rough beginning, grew up in Harlem, was sort of a criminal background when he was a kid, but then he got framed by his best friend and went to jail.
Yeah, you want to know why he got framed? He got framed because he and his best friend were fighting over a girl. So what does his best friend do? His best friend puts heroin in his apartment and then calls the police.
Yeah, that's how.
Yeah, your best friend and you are fighting over girls. What's the best thing to do? Frame them for drug possession.
Hey, that's how I got chicks in high school. But this is the deal. While he was in there, he underwent some sort of like super soldier program, sort of like Captain America. And basically, he got these amped up powers. He got super strength. He got almost invulnerability, like a lot of durability, speed. Basically, the guy is essentially like a different version of Captain America.
Thanks, racist prison guard that upped the dosage to try and kill him.
Exactly, yeah. He was going to be super anyway, but thanks to a racist prison guard who wanted to kill him and just decided to turn all the dials to 11, he became even more super. And as time goes on, he gets exponentially stronger too, because he sort of keeps on getting experimented on and keeps on getting like irradiated and all kinds of other stuff.
Well, you know, it happens.
Exactly. But essentially, he's a lot different from a lot of other Marvel superheroes. He doesn't just go out to save the day to save the world. He's a guy who does it for money. It is his business. It's almost like Angel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, except he does it without a mask and with his shirt wide open.
Exactly. Basically, he's really well known for not only teaming up with Iron Fist and being heroes for hire, but he's also well known for almost never getting involved in the giant crossover events.
Right.
Unless, like, it directly has to do with him or his wife, which is, of course...
Which is Jessica Jones, who we will get to a little later.
Exactly, because she will also be one of the other Marvel characters with a series. He is a guy that's doing this for hire, doesn't want to be part of a team, though he is part of the Defenders in the comic books every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, Nighthawk, who's the rich guy, decided to put him on retainer, and that way he could keep him there.
Smart.
You got to keep the talent, right? But he was on there with, like, Nighthawk and the Hulk and Doctor Strange, so he's always part of that universe. He's always protecting his area, but it's really interesting because he is a guy for hire. It's different than, like, Spider-Man, who just feels like through guilt, essentially, that he needs to do this. I mean, that's what's interesting about him. He's not fueled by guilt.
Well, see, you know, they need to get smart. Like, DC has Booster Gold, who knows sponsorship is the way to go.
Totally. He should team up Booster Gold. Those guys would be huge.
Crossover event, people.
Awesome. I could totally... that would be great. They both have an affinity for yellow and blue.
Right?
I mean, come on. It is a match made in heaven.
Totally.
Good point, anime. All right, last but not least, let's move on to Luke Cage's wife, Jessica Jones, who will be the fourth Marvel character to get their own 13-episode show on Netflix.
So Jessica Jones is an interesting one. A lot of these other characters, actually all of the ones that we've said so far, they all started in like the 60s or 70s. Jessica Jones didn't show up until, like 2001, I think?
Yeah.
And she is an interesting character. Now, she does have powers, and the way she got them was when she was a teenager, and by the way, a classmate of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
She and her family, they went to Disneyland, and her dad's driving them home, and she and her brother are fighting, and her dad's paying attention to them in a car accident. Dad and brother are dead. She's all alone. Not only did he get into an accident, but he got into an accident with a military vehicle. A military vehicle carrying an unknown substance. She gets apparently covered in the substance or something, goes into a coma, but when she wakes up, she's got superhuman powers.
Whoa.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
That's messed up.
It's really messed up.
That's some good TV right there, anime.
Now, she was like a total outcast and stuff, and so she's got some issues to begin with, but but she sees Spider-Man fighting Sandman, and she's inspired. She's like, I've got these powers, I'm gonna use them for good. So she goes out, tries to use them for good. Unfortunately, she meets up with one of the most nefarious villains ever. Purple Man.
Oh, man.
Purple Man.
You're not joking, though. He is bad. Like, we always used to make fun of Purple Man because his name is Purple Man. Ooh,
right.
Purple Man, I'm scary. No, that dude's messed up. That dude is seriously messed up.
Zedediah Kilgrave, or the Purple Man. He's got these crazy pheromone powers, and he can sort of mind control people. And so he uses these mind control powers on Jessica Jones. This is why most normal channels could not have this as a show, especially if they're going to go into this stuff that she has to deal with. Because Purple Man really, really messes with her.
Yeah.
He forces her to watch as he mind controls and rapes a bunch of co-eds. Yeah. And does other really twisted sexual related things, does not actually rape her. So if she wasn't feeling all screwed up to begin with, her parents are dead, her brother is dead, and then she has to deal with that when she finally thinks that she's got like a good thing going for her. And eventually, after lots of failed relationships with like a SHIELD agent and lots of other people.
Those SHIELD agents, okay?
She does eventually, while dating the second Ant-Man, she and Luke Cage have a little tryst.
Yes.
That leads to she and Luke Cage having a little baby.
I mean, why can't they remake the movie Knocked Up with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones?
Seriously.
That would be amazing. I would watch that. Get on that, Judd Apatow.
By the way, they named their baby Danielle after their best buddy, Daniel Rand, a.k.a. Iron Fist. I want to read the issues, though, where they're looking for a nanny. Not kidding, people. Not kidding. They were looking for a nanny, so where do they go? They go to the superpowered universe.
No.
And they, they've got applicants like Deadpool.
Yeah. Deadpool.
Like Groot.
That's amazing.
How did they not go with Groot?
I know. I guess they had to go with Scroll Girl.
She also was a private detective. After the whole incident with Purple Man, she just went into like the private detective stuff, stopped doing the superhero thing. But later on, Spider-Man convinced her that like that's a good way to set a good example for your kid.
Yeah.
You gotta show her how you could be super, not just tell her stories.
Totally.
And it was just announced that Melissa Rosenberg, who was one of the main writers on Dexter, is actually going to be writing Jessica Jones. She was also the person who was going to write that pilot for AKA Jessica Jones back when they were going to do it on ABC a couple years ago.
I would say, though, if I were to cast anyone for her, it would be Lindsay Fonseca.
That's not a bad choice. I was thinking Brie Larson.
Ooh, yeah. They actually were talking about her maybe being cast as young Sarah Connor in the new Terminator movie.
I like her. She's able to do tough well, and I don't know, I kind of think that she would be a good Jessica Jones.
That's a good idea. What do you think for now, Luke Cage? Before I couldn't think of it, but now I'm starting to think it's got to be Michael J. White. There's no choice. Michael J. White is Luke Cage. No discussions.
I guess the only question is if they'd want to go with somebody older or younger.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume they're going to go with a younger cast on it, especially if they're planning for this to go over a bunch of years.
Totally. And can you think of anyone for Iron Fist? Because I thought of someone, but only because I know they did martial arts in a movie once and they were white.
The thing with Iron Fist is that sort of anyone could be him. You just kind of need someone that's in shape. He doesn't really have the same sort of issues as the other guys, but obviously if they can do martial arts or look good doing martial arts, it's definitely a benefit.
I think they should get that guy Cam Gigante, is that his name? He was like in Twilight, he was in Never Back Down.
Wow, Twilight's the first thing you listed there.
Well, that's a bigger movie than Never Back Down. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone's seen Never Back Down.
I defer to your Twilight.
He was also in Easy A, but either way, he was great in Never Back Down. He was like the evil mixed martial arts guy, and I thought he was really good. So he could totally play Iron Fist. Yeah. Daredevil's the hardest. I mean, Daredevil because he's an iconic character. I mean, like I said, future Batman played him. So really. So maybe he needs to be one of the past Batmans. Maybe Michael Keaton should play Daredevil. Maybe not.
No.
Maybe not.
No. So like we said, what this is all going to lead up to is this big miniseries Netflix event where they're going to bring all of them together, probably with some other characters too, to be the Defenders.
Yes.
Now, the Defenders is a group that's been around for, since the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
The original one, it was started by Doctor Strange. It had, Hulk. It did have Luke Cage.
Falcon was a member at one point.
yeah, they had a bunch of temporary members. There have been a lot of different versions of the Defenders through the years, but obviously this Netflix one will have all of these characters.
Yeah, exactly. What's cool about the Defenders is they're really not that official. Basically, they all kind of get thrown together when there's a big attack. And even if you help out, you're sort of a member. There's only a few people that are actually always members of the Defenders. And it's also funny, too, because a lot of times the people in the Defenders, because they're not officially a team, really, don't get along. So they're always fighting one another. It's sort of a, whacked out version of the Avengers.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a lot of fun. And come on, any group that will have anyone that comes to a meeting as a member,
That's a group
it's all inclusive.
I'd like to join. Either way, guys, who do you think they should cast for these 4 characters? We got Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Iron Fist. Let us know in the comments down below. Either way, if you want to listen to a radio show around every week on Indie 100 and The Point.
And if you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to geekworldradio@yahoo.com, and be sure to check out our website, geekworldradio.com.
Hey, Anime.
What?
You want to start a new group called Geeks for Hire?
We could try.
Look out for Purple Man!
Purple Man.
Bye!